The purpose of this video is so I can catalog ideas that I think that are funny. So here we go. Um, Last night, Joe and I were laying in bed and we were talking about comics because the writer for the comic Amazing Spider-Man killed off Peter Parker, and it's like this big nerd news. And so that led me to start asking questions to Joe about how can they kill off Spider-Man? Are they not going to make another movie with that lovely young man, James Garfield? And how do you build upon the movie franchise if they kill him in the comic book? And he said it doesn't really work that way. That there were different types of Spider-Man comics. So they have the Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, and they're all parallel universes where he fights different villains. And each comic goes on for a number of years and dedicates themselves as a series, and then eventually somebody dies or something, and that comic lays low for a while, and then it reincarnates itself in another way. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So if the comics go on for a couple of years, like, do they keep Peter Parker as like this senior in high school and freshman in college, or does it get older, or what happens? And Joy said he thinks that there was this one comic series where Peter Parker married Mary Jane, but he's also pretty sure that they ended up getting a divorce in the comic as well. So I thought that was hilarious because a book that is written like that is geared towards children, what type of storyline would they have to write that involved Peter Parker marrying a childhood sweetheart and then life led up to a divorce? Like, it made me curious to wonder like how you translate that into a comic where you go from being married and what transpired throughout the entire duration of the relationship that ultimately ended in a divorce. And so in this idea where Peter Parker and Mary Jane are 45, 50 years old, and they're sitting in the living room of Uncle Ben's house that he inherited when he died, so there's them, middle-aged, living in New York, watching, The Big Bang Theory or something, eating their dinner on a TV tray, and all of a sudden, like, Peter Parker's spidey sense starts tingling. He's like, "Whoa, babe, I gotta go. I have to. There's crime happening. I'll be back. I have to save New York." And then it just cuts to like Mary Jane, like, "Oh no, okay, that's fine. No, go. We were sitting down watching a lovely program, eating a delicious meal that I slaved over. But no, go. It's fine. It's fine. There's no reason for you not to go." And so there's like, it'll cut over and like Peter Parker has like his mask like halfway on, and he'll just kind of defeatedly like take it off and come over and just explains like, "Look, baby, there's criminals out there, and the cops can't do it by themselves because if they stay within the boundaries of the law, it's up to me, Spider-Man, to go out there and stop crime." And then Mary Jane's like, no, I got it. Criminals. Ooh. Strangers is what they are. Perfect strangers. You have time for them. You want to take your wife to go see Django Unchained? No, we can't spare 2 hours on a Saturday matinee. But strangers now, we totally have time for it. No, go have fun. Go to your party. See if I care. No, it's fine. I'm not mad. So then it just ends up in like years of arguments that are just basically saying along the same line. It's just over and over again. Eventually, Peter Parker comes up to Mary Jane and is like, "Look, baby, you can't say we both didn't see this coming. I just can't live this life anymore. You knew this about me when we got together. You used to call me Tiger, baby. It was wonderful. We saved lives. And I'm just afraid, the time has come. I'm gonna have to ask you for a divorce." And then, like, if it played out like as a comic, the last page would have like, the first panel, it would be like Peter Parker standing in like this rumpled, like, death of a salesman suit, and he's grabbing like a duffel bag, and he's just in his closet, and he's like packing up all his shit. And his next panel is like him leaving the house, where he's just like walking out of a room, but the room's like, it's all black here, and the only light's coming from like the doorway where there's these ray beams of the outline of Peter Parker's body, where he's just, longingly looking back, and it's very beautiful and magical. And he's leaving. They're getting a divorce. In the next panel, it'll have like Mary Jane just like whatever, when I don't know, something like that, and then the last moment it'll just have like the outside shot of Peter Parker standing very like defeated in her in one hand like his double bag with like his 5 t-shirts and 4 pairs of socks, and like the other hand's like his Spider-Man costume. I don't know, like the end can just have like this one like widescreen panel of like Peter Parker laying on a beach in Tahiti with like nothing but like his Spider-Man mask, and like Gwen Stacy laying next to him. I don't know. I think that's a pretty funny idea. So, um, that's the first one, and I guess that's about it. I really don't know how to wrap this up, but yeah.